Assault on Saipan, June 16th and 17th, 1944. For 2 days, the Marines assaulted along an irregular front. The 2nd Marines moved north toward Garapan, the 8th east into the swamps near Lake Susupi, and the 6th pushed northeast into Mount Tipo Pali. It was close combat. No exceptions for battalion commanders. Colonel Chambers, commanding the 325th Marines of the 4th Division, described his experiences. "We got to a giant bomb crater. The soil had been all turned up, and around it was 3 Marines protected by the dirt. I called over to one of these Marines and asked what was going on. He said an anti-aircraft gun was right in front of them. I crawled to within 2 feet of the top of that dirt and raised on my hands to see for myself. In less than 30 yards, I was looking into the muzzle of an 88mm anti-tank gun. The Japs had swung the damn thing around and pointed it right up the hill. I was looking clear down its muzzle. I dropped as hard as I could, and then the damn gun went off. The shell tore through the far side of the bomb crater and came through the dirt near where I was. It took the head off the Marine right next to me. The shell landed and detonated another 30 feet beyond me. Later that same day, we had another close call. We advanced and uncovered some Jap supply caches. One was an ammo dump. At 1500, the Japs blew the dump where I was standing and caused many concussion casualties, including myself. I still don't remember a thing about it. Marines told me that when the blast went off, I got thrown right up into the air and turned a complete flip and then landed on my face. On the night of the 16th, the Japanese launched a major attack against the 6th Marines, this time with 44 tanks. This battle was a madhouse of noise tracers and flashing lights. As tanks were hit and set on fire, they silhouetted other tanks that came out of the flickering shadows to the front. Marines fired in with grenade launchers, 2.36-inch rocket launchers, 75mm self-propelled guns, artillery, and tanks. When it was over and dawn broke, the shattering hulks of 27 Japanese tanks lay there smoking. In the Susupe swamp, Marines drove inland to the east toward the objective of Asalito Airfield. In danger of overextending his lines, General Holland Smith pulled the 165th Infantry out of reserve and sent them ashore to reinforce the 4th Marine Division. On the same day, General Ralph Smith came ashore to command the additional Army 27th Infantry Division units as they landed. With the 24th Marines on his left flank and the 165th Infantry on its right, the 25th Marines advanced to the north edge of Asalito Airfield late on June 17th. Patrols found the airstrip abandoned, but the 165th, tasked to capture it, waited until the next day. On the same day, June 17th, Admiral Spruance made a critical command decision. The formidable main Japanese fleet approached Saipan. He ordered his carriers to meet the enemy ships. That night, he withdrew his supply ships and transports from their offshore positions to a safe distance from the Japanese threat. June 18th, D+3. When the riflemen woke the following day, they looked out in amazement at an empty ocean. Waves of anxious questions must have raced through their minds. Where the hell are our ships? What about our food and ammunition? Will we have the star shell illumination and naval gunfire support? The riflemen in frontline combat had no way of knowing that 33,000 tons of cargo had already been unloaded before the ships withdrew. That same morning, the 4th Marine Division's attack objective was the seizure of the 03 line. This meant splitting the Japanese forces in two by reaching the east coast of Saipan. But first, the 23rd Marines had to seize a part of the 02 line in its zone. This would be the division's line of departure. This meant that the entire division, with its 3 infantry regiments, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th Marines, jumped off at 10:40. Both the 24th and 25th Marines were able to reach 03 before dark. Intense Japanese mortar and machine gun fire stalled the 23rd Marines. The bombardment came from the east of Lake Susepe, on the boundary line separating the 2 Marine divisions. This made it uncertain which division was responsible for destroying these enemy positions. It was impossible to fire artillery on them for fear of friendly fire. As a result, the 23rd Marines suffered heavy casualties. At day's end, a gap still existed between the 2nd and 4th Marine divisions. In combat, the bizarre can become routine. One of the 23rd Marines' 75mm half-tracks fired into a Japanese cave. A dense cloud of noxious fumes poured out. A gas alarm sounded. This was serious trouble because the riflemen had long jettisoned the burdensome gas masks. Relief flooded through the men as they established the fumes weren't poisonous and came from picric acid the Japanese stored in the cave. In the 2nd Division zone to the north, the 8th Marines fought bitterly to control Hill 240. A heavily defended coconut grove required saturation fire from the artillery of the 10th Marines before the riflemen could smash their way in and destroy the enemy. By the night of June 18th, the 2 Marine divisions had suffered over 5,000 casualties.